Power Rangers Super MegaForce was a confused mess that had to rush through 2 entire Sentai in only 40 episodes. 20 per Sentai, and both of which are like 40 to 50 episodes. So, yeah, it was pretty rushed and bad. So let's try and fix it. So in this rewrite, I'll be trying to fix Super MegaForce. But before we do that, we have to do MegaForce itself first. Which MegaForce by itself is good, just really rushed. So to fix this, we'll be completely splitting both series. So we have one Power Ranger series adapting Goseiger and one adapting goseiger. So right off the bat, we'll be fixing the big problem with MegaForce. It's extremely rushed nature because they really want to get to goseiger. And because Nick's weird 2-season rule, we still have 2 seasons, 20 episodes each, of MegaForce, so we can help develop the characters and be a lot better. Which, yes, pushes the goseiger adaptation to the 21st anniversary rather than the 20th anniversary, but hey, goseiger itself was 1 year late. Most of MegaForce will remain the same, just with some tweaks and additional episodes. First thing to change, Troy will no longer have visions of the Legendary War. But in the command center, there still are the Ranger keys. Oh, and the green console thing, instead of having a green light, it has a black, purplish light instead, because we're not doing goseiger yet. And he created the Ranger keys to, like, if the Rangers lost their powers somehow, then they can use these Ranger keys to get them back. And Gosei is here to guard the morphing grid and the keys, along with the robot Tensu. And he was also given the resources to create his own team if necessary, which is where the MegaForce stuff comes from. And yes, the morphing grid can predict the future and alter dimensions, which is why the SPD and Time Force keys are here, even though they're from the future, and the RPM keys, even though they're from a different dimension. Also, sometimes we'll see Gosei, because he's a shapeshifter, transform into his human form, and he's just played by the same actor who voices him. And he'll be taking the role of Master Head from Goseiger. The Warstar villains are the same, but we'll be hinting at Vrak's status early on for later. But Malcor doesn't care about his status, he's still in charge around here. His ship, his rules. Also, we're in the city of Angel Grove because, hey, goseiger's adaptation's late, so hey, might as well still do some nostalgia stuff here. Different Ernie, but still the same juice bar company. With Troy, he starts out as this kind of delinquent who gets sent from Stone Canyon by his parents to Angel Grove, and as mentioned in the comments, unintentional goseiger reference, because angels. I was making it a reference because, you know, Mighty Morphin Angel Grove, but I somehow missed goseiger are angels. I'm stupid. So Troy's parents, because he's this delinquent and antisocial kid, decide to send him to his uncle Hector, who's like this crazed, really strict army guy who's a sort of recurring character and like this semi-antagonistic character for the first half of the show until he starts to loosen up around people and lets Troy, be him. Troy begins as antisocial kid, but goseiger chooses him to be the MegaForce leader because he sees great potential within him. And throughout the show, he opens up to people and becomes a good leader for the Mega Team. He's the new kid in town. Meanwhile, the rest of the Mega Team has known each other for like forever. Noah and Jake are best friends, even with their opposite personalities. Noah is kind of like Billy from Mighty Morphin, as he's this nerd who's not good at fighting at first. when he's not morphed. And throughout the show, he gets confidence and becomes a decent fighter. And also, he's adopted by 2 gay parents who we will imply exist in MegaForce and Ultra MegaForce, but won't actually show. Jake is the comic relief, goofy kid who tries to crack jokes, but no one finds them funny, much like me. He's really into soccer, and he tries to use his ranger status in Ultra MegaForce to get popular to mixed success at best. He has a crush on Gia. There's a bunch of will they, won't they until Pirate Armada. And parentage, he has a mom we won't see who's kind of loud and annoying, like Howard's mom from Big Bang Theory. Gia and Emma are best friends. Gia is like Taylor from Wild Force. She's this strong, independent woman. Either way, she's still Team Mom, and she knows that Jake has a crush on her, but she's choosing to make him step up and admit it and not make her make him do it for him. She has a generic family, mom, dad, maybe a brother or 2. Emma is like nice, and she's really, really into the environment to almost kind of weird status in the first half of the season, but then when the mutants come in, she kind of has this weird crisis. Like, how can animal life be this cruel? And she like learns a lesson that animals are cool, but they aren't perfect creatures. Her parents are separated. She lives with her dad, and she doesn't get to see her mom often, and that's kind of fills her nature thing because her mom was also really big into nature and stuff, so she wants to emulate that. We're changing the morph sequence, and me being weird using clips from Eva and York. They're like, it's morphin' time! And then they pull open the mouth of the morpher and says, gotcha! And then they're like, Ranger card! And then put the card in the mouth and say, invoke! And then they slam it shut. Change! MegaForce! And then it just happens like normal. And then, ta-da! The Rangers! Tensu is a kind of comic relief character back at the command center. And then he gets violently smashed up and stepped on, and then Noah has to repair him as Datus. Roy and Barry start out as bully characters in the high school. Not really Bulk and Skull-like, because instead of being punks, they're more like preppy, douchey, popular kids. And they're picking on kids smaller than them. And Troy, seeing something like himself in them, starts out trying to reform them. And it eventually works halfway through the series. And they become Ranger allies. Robo Knight is also a case of this, where Troy sees how Robo Knight's a kind of loner and standoffish at first, so he tries to vow to make him more human-like, which starts his kind of obsession into trying to make him human. Gosei is similar to Keeper from Dino Charge, spouting off wisdom and helping with make Zords and stuff. He is a shapeshifter, and is he from the Lion Galaxy? I don't think we'll actually state that in a series, but we'll probably state it on a Wikipedia or something that he's part of the Lion Galaxy because he can shapeshift. Why does he take the form of a tiki head? Just for fun. But why he sits in that spot is because that's an entrance into the morphing grid, and he sits there so he can study the morphing grid and use energy from it to create some special liquid, hint, 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 important, to make, his own Rangers and the Ranger keys. The command center is the Gosei Ultimate Megazord jet mode, but like landed and covered in rock. But we won't see it a lot, and you can imply why we don't. Just use it like, oh, Gosei doesn't want to. It takes up a lot of energy, or they don't want to destroy the base, so they only use it for very major fights. Robo Knight was a prototype ranger created by Gosei, but he kind of forgot about him as he was frozen in the ice, so he doesn't remember a lot. But what he does remember is he's here to protect the planet. And he's got kind of a Pinocchio story of becoming a real boy, mostly thanks to Troy. The mutants are mutants, possibly created by Mutagen from Ninja Turtles, because anniversary. Either way, they're angry against humanity for creating them, so they're going to use the pollution that created them to fight against them. And Vrak basically uses them as meat shields until the robots show up. And the Rangers get the Ultra powers, which is why we call this Ultra MegaForce now. A couple more episodes fly past, and Vrak is like, hey, where are those robots I called for? They're supposed to be here ages ago. And then the robots, the Messenger and Metal Alice show up, and they address Vrak as Crown Prince Vrak, which explicitly hints to his thing later. These robots are the remnants of the Machine Empire, who joined the empire that Vrak's the Crown Prince of to gain more power. But they are like extremely loyal to Vrak. They set up base in an old Machine Empire base they found underwater, and why we haven't seen it in Zeo or Forever Red is because shut up. A couple more episodes fly past, and Blue Fur is destroyed, but when he falls and like crushes Vrak, who was watching the battle. And so Metal Alice and the Messenger turn him into a cyborg. And he has some memory loss because of brain trauma. Bulk shows up to Angel Grove, and he's like come to visit his parents. And he's like, Angel Grove. Looks different from what I remember. But then again, Angel Grove always looked a little different every day. And then he stopped to get some sorbet or whatever, and he sees Skull and Spike, and there's a cute reunion, and Mr. Burley's there because, I don't know, it's Sunday, and, he's not working, and they all, along with Ernie, start talking about, I wonder what it would be like if we were all Rangers, and they have, like, this big fantasy episode where they're thinking, the evil Metal Alice is gonna blow up the train, or at least derail it. But they show up to help the Rangers stop the train and save the passengers and all that. And Bulk's the Lilac Ranger, and Mr. Burley's the Brown Ranger, and Skull's the other Black Ranger, and Spike's the other Blue Ranger, and Ernie's the other Yellow Ranger. And yes, there will be unique footage of them in actual MegaForce outfits based on the Gosei Wander headers. Because goseiger is going to be late. This is your anniversary, basically. And then have a joke with the finisher being, shooting the head of Gosei Wander out with the axe, and then it spins around. And then have a joke about Bulk piloting the head as it spins around, and it cuts into the cockpit, and he gets sick, and he takes his helmet off and froze up. And they're like, yeah, we defeated the evil Metal Alice. Yeah. And Spike, totally kisses Emma. And then the fantasy fades out. And they're like, I was in with it until that last part. And Spike's like, oh, come on. But then the actual Rangers come in. And it's awkward. And they're like, hey, what's up? And then everyone kind of just disperses. He's like... And the actual Rangers are like, what? Did we miss something? And we get to actual plot-relevant things. Vrak frying the Mega Ranger morphers. And then the messenger shows up and he explains who Vrock is. He's the crown prince of the Sangak Empire, and Vrock gets his memories back. And Vrock explains why he came to Earth, because his brother, Prince Vekar, is his father's favorite. Vekar is basically the Frieza to Vrock's Cooler. Vrock, despite being the elder son, the Emperor much prefers his younger son. So he tried to conquer Earth with the War Star, who were like a special navy in the Empire, to show to his dad they could conquer Earth. And then he called on the robots to do the same, and he used the mutants to do the same. But then there's fighting, and stuff happens, and the messenger is reduced to scrap metal, except for his talking head. The messenger tells the Rangers, hey, you might destroy me now, but the entire armada of the Sangak Empire is coming in a few weeks. Prince Vekar will have his revenge for his brother. And Vrax, like, smirks, and he's like, let them come! Let them come! Ah, ha, 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 ha! He blows up the messenger's head, destroys Metal Alice, uses her powers to restore him to his true form, kidnaps Robo Knight, and buggers off. And Vrock tortures Robo Knight into becoming Dark Robo Knight, and he sets up these giant drills, and he hacks into the TVs of every TV in the world, and he's like, citizens of Earth, hand over the planet or I will destroy it with these giant drills. Troy and Robo Knight fight, and except for this weird Super Saiyan BS he does, he manages to turn Robo Knight good again. But oh no, Vrock put up 2 more drills, he's going to destroy the Earth! And then more fighting happens, but before Vrock is destroyed for good, he forces the drills to go into the Earth anyway. So they call the Ultrazord to go deal with the things, and yay, they did! Until they say is like, Rangers! Get out! Get out of there! Get out! But it's too late, the invasion just begun. The largest alien invasion in Earth's history. They blow up the Megazord, and they invade, and Gosei in human form and Data leaves the base to go get the Rangers. And the Rangers are trying to fight off the invasion, but they're just too strong for the Rangers. Even Robo Knight, and we see the Megazord trashed. So the Mega Rangers are forced to run away. But then we cut to a different location and we see them confronting a new monster and some foot soldiers. Then they pull out new morphers and Ranger keys. And then we cut to the actual MegaForce Rangers who just met up with Datus and Gosei, and they're pretty badly beaten, and Robo Knight's suffering from a lot of internal damaging. They get inside the command center just for them to notice that the glass is broken and all the Ranger keys are gone. And Jake comments, oh, of course, my screen's the only one smashed. And we cut back to the fake Mega Rangers. They morph. Pirate Rangers! Set sail! But before they actually morph, we cut to a to be continued sign. And it will continue next series in Power Rangers Pirate Armada. Here's a brief list of episodes and a brief synopsis for them, and I hope you enjoyed.